that we get a chance to start all over again 52 times a year. Allah gives us this opportunity to do this 52 times a year to get you a new start or better start for you to correct what we're doing. Today's subject, we have to believe what we believe in. We have to believe what we believe in. We're talking about what's in Quran, how the Quran is structured, how the Quran is put together, and how we have to believe what we believe. The smallest element or the smallest unit in any language are phonemes, are called phonemes, or the sounds of the letters, in Arabic, harfs. The smallest sound of any language is considered phonemes. You put the phonemes together, the phonemes become words. Let me go back to phonemes. In Quran, we have example of phonemes or letters having divine meaning and purpose, like Aleph, Lam, Mim, Sad. These are sounds with vowels, letters with sound with vowels that we use in Quran. And in certain surahs, these letters appear. We have, as humans, Allah's creation, we don't know the complete meaning of these letters, but we do know they have divine meaning and purpose. You put the phonemes together, they become words. Words in Quran, we have words in the Quran that have divine meaning and purpose. You move with the words, you put the words together, they become sentences. And sometimes you consider them ayats. You put the sentences together in Quran, there are sentences in the Quran that have divine meaning and purpose. Put the sentences together, you come up with the surahs. Put the ayats together to come up with surahs. The surahs have divine meaning and purpose. Put the surahs together, the surahs become a juice. Juice have divine meaning and purpose. Remember, we're talking about believing in what's in the Quran, believing what we believe in. You put the juice together, you have the Quran, and we all know the Quran has divine meaning and can stand alone with purpose. We say this to make us understand that, again, we must believe in what we believe in. The Quran will show us conditions, the Quran will show us similitudes of life, and then gives us responses to the conditions or the similitudes. For every condition Allah gives us in Quran, He will give us a similitude for that condition. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In Surah 18, Ayah 54, Al-Qaf, Allah says, we have explained in detail in this Quran for the benefit of man every kind of similitude, but most mankind deny. Meaning that all of our life, every aspect of our life, the Quran has similitude. So if you have any problems, whatever your problem may be, you go in the Quran and you will find a response to whatever problem or issue you're talking about. And that will give us understanding how the Quran can guide our life in everyday life as in our everyday similitudes. I have with me today, we're going to have handouts when you leave out today to give you an understanding of the similitudes in the Quran that you can use for your everyday life. And I expand and I will well, let me continue this first. I keep moving ahead of myself right now, okay? So similitudes in Quran. Okay, on this paper here, we have about 30 similitudes that you can use for everyday life, that you can direct someone directly to what you're talking about. We have many scholars, we have many people here, but certain things you will not be able to tell them exactly where they're at. This paper will help you out, okay? This have just said, do not insult. That said, Surah 49, Ayat 11. Do not backbite. Surah 49, Ayat 12. Do not be rude to parents. Surah 17, ayat 23. And it goes on, okay? Do not insult. Do not insult others' false gods. So you don't insult a person what they believe in, okay? That's Surah 6, ayat 108. The purpose of this, again, is that when we're speaking about things that we deal with in life, you can say, brother, you shouldn't backbite, you shouldn't do this, and you can go exactly where you can find that, give you the understanding also. Now, I will encourage you all, as I will do the same thing I've started already. Once you get one of these on the back of this, of course, Ramadan is fastly approaching, and we should all be reading Quran every day. But during Ramadan, we're obligated to read a 30th or juz a day. While you're reading the juz, create your own questions on some of the ayats you read by, and you can one on here I got on mine that says is not covered here is why you shouldn't gamble. Okay, so what you do, you get to that part in the ayat in the Quran while you're reading, pull the paper out. Develop your own question, how you want that question to be answered. This is the question, why you shouldn't gamble. Ayat so-and-so, ayat this, Surah this, ayat that, okay? And this way here, it will give you a manual and a reference to go back to, that you can have everything in your hip pocket, okay? Everything like, I should tell Brother Imam Latif, he always have one in the chamber, okay? So therefore, you want to make sure that you have something to refer to, and you're not talking off the top of your head. You can give them exactly what this is all about. Now, this paper is complimentary of our brother Jimmy Smalls. Jimmy Smalls is a member of he's the president of the Muslim League of Voters. On Friday nights, every fourth Friday of the month, we have a community night here. And these are the things you can get on community night. He brought this to us on community night, which is very needed, and it's a wealth of knowledge. But things like that on our community night every fourth Friday of the month, we need a community, people. We need to come in and find out what's going on just for everyday talk. It's very, very close on that Friday being iftar during Ramadan. You get a chance to break bread and you're talking. You get a chance to relax. It's not just all somebody talking. It's right now I'm talking to you or talking at you, okay? This way here you get a chance to feedback and get some response and understanding. Before I forget, before we leave, for the brothers and sisters, anybody who wants to take a part of a picture for the masjid for our Facebook page, you're welcome to join us after the football is over, inshallah. Okay, I'm going to stop here. We're going to stop, and so these will be available outside the door as you walk out. Your brother have a folder full of these, okay? And anyone on Facebook or anywhere else that sees this broadcast who wants one of these papers, please contact the masjid, and we'll see how we can get it to you, because this is very important to have. And I think it says again, turn away from ill speech, walk in a humble manner. Respond to evil with good. And all these questions or similitudes of life are referenced in Quran, and you can find exactly where they are in Quran. So we're going to make a dua. This is your personal dua, asking Allah for what you need to ask Him for. Inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Pardon me for speeding up on that, because I want to make sure I can get what I want to get in on this part without having to worry about the clock. I know we have some brothers have to leave at a certain time, and we want to get these pictures taken with as many people as possible. We're still talking about believing what you believe in. Believe what you believe in. We must keep our prayers and thoughts with our brothers and sisters in Palestine or Gaza and throughout the world. There are 21 wars and conflicts going on in the world today. And that's based on at least 1,000 people being killed a day. These are things that our news media doesn't show us. They only show us what is benefits for them as their ratings. To most Americans, or people live in America, these wars and conflicts is nothing but a TV show. You can turn them on and turn them off, okay? The media will show us the things that they want you to see in reference to their political or their rating standings. And that's how they present the news to us. The images and the atrocities that's going on throughout the world, especially in the world of the dark people, the black people, today's news media don't think the news is worthy or mainstream worthy. You have to look and search for it in the Sudan, in Haiti, throughout Africa. Right now in Africa, according to the media, in Africa right now there are more than 40 million people in Africa and the Caribbean. Caribbean meaning Haiti. There's over 40 million people, over 40 million people displaced because of wars or conflicts. And we're speaking about Haiti, we say the Caribbean. What is going on in Ukraine and in Gaza is horrific. As we watch it on the TV, making a TV show, we watch this, they show you a little Ukraine, they show you stuff that goes on in Gaza, in Palestine, and it's almost like given to us as a program. It's very important we understand that this is, or these people have real lives. These are lives you're dealing with. Can you imagine, we don't have any discomfort in this country. We go outside and we leave back and forth. But this is real, especially because we have brothers here from Palestine. So it's close to us than maybe another message. And the point is that it's real to them. We have to let them know we're comforting them, we're there for them all the time. So we must make a dua for all of Allah's creation, all of mankind, okay? Because there are atrocities going on throughout right now. It's popular for them because it is a political thing to show you parts of what's going on in Gaza. They're not showing you everything. They're only showing you little pieces. I looked at a report yesterday, day before yesterday. There was food being handed out in Gaza, and people came from all over. All of a sudden, the Israeli troops start shooting them down. Over 100 people got killed trying to collect food. This is crazy, but yet and still it goes on, and they're showing it to us in bits and pieces. But although these things are very cruel, we got to still understand that Allah's in charge. We still got to keep that in heart. Allah's in charge. Okay, what happened on October 7th? Never should have happened. October 7th, for those who know the actual date, October 7th is the date that this attack was on Israel, when Hamas came in on Israel on the continent, okay? For one reason, it shouldn't have happened because as Muslims, we can't dismiss this as tribute. It was a travesty and cannot be ignored. As Muslims, we must speak against that act. Against that act. Even though we know the cause and purpose of being freedom fighters, that act was un-Islamic. Innocent men and women being killed. There are rules of engagement in war, of war engagement, and there are Islamic rules of war, of engaging in war. And neither one of those were being, neither was being observed during that particular time. The news media used that to stage what was to come, a massacre, annihilation, and a genocide of a people. Okay? This is crazy. Whatever you see, there's nothing worse than what we're seeing now live on TV. Again, but it's like a TV program to us, okay? When this was reported at first, when they first reported, they said babies were getting got their heads cut off. And then within days, the United States sent $9 billion of military equipment. Now, Israel don't need any more military equipment. $9 billion of military equipment United States sent to Israel within days of October 7th. days later, we find out, see, the media is very, very skillful. They're not going to come out and tell you we told you a lie. They use the term is that we have to walk the story back. It never happened. But they don't come out and say it was an outright lie they reported. But that lie gave Israel the world's opinion or the world's okay to say, go and get these people. But that was horrific. It was crazy. But yet and still, it was a lie. Yes, people got killed, babies were killed, but the way they presented it to us, they presented it to us the way that you can only look for the worst, get those people by all means necessary. That's what it comes out to be. Now, I mentioned about the 100 people being killed in Gaza day before yesterday in reference to food being distributed. And these are Muslims. There are Muslims all over the world. Throughout Africa, there's all these atrocities we talk about. These are Muslims being involved. Two, the reason why it shouldn't happen. One, it shouldn't happen because we're Muslims. Two, it shouldn't have happened because Israel, as well as the United States, have intel. And the intel is so sophisticated, the intel I've heard a guy say this, United States and Israel intel is so sophisticated that they could, pardon my language, but they could sense a snake out in the desert passing gas. This is what type of intel they got, okay? And for this act to go on, this act went on without a hitch. This act went on without a hitch. People parachuting out of planes. Now, there's nowhere in the world intel couldn't pick some of that up. These things here was known by somebody, and we'll get to that in a minute. Parachuting down on what was called the Supernova Music Festival, and that is the biggest festival in Israel throughout the years, okay? The biggest festival in Israel, and you tell me your intel did not pick anything up? There was no chatter on the lines telling you that this is going to be some type of attack going on? So, now before every event in the United States, like the Super Bowl, anything that goes on, they have all their channels out on every level, picking up any type of chatter they need to pick up to find out what's going on or what will happen, because that's why you can see, and as big as our Super Bowl is, the biggest world event, nothing has never happened there, because they can figure out what goes on. And I speed up a little bit here so I can get to the good stuff, or the stuff that we need to come up with. Okay, but now we're still talking about believing what we believe in. As Muslims, out of all the tragedies going on, we still have to find some solace. Okay? Solace means finding some type of peace, some type of way of dealing with it. We have to find solace in any of our affairs, in all of our affairs, whatever we deal with. About 3 weeks ago, Imam Latif, in his khutbah, he mentioned no matter how bad things are, no matter how bad or how good things seem to be, you must understand or remember that it's the qadr of Allah. Okay? This is Allah's plan. We have to understand that Allah is in control. As we find in anything that goes in our life as reference to tragedy or the good stuff, okay, we must look and understand that Allah's blessings or Allah's lesson is there for us to get. A lesson of what we see, a lesson in the tragedy that will allow us to get somewhere else. Okay, so it's a blessing as well as a lesson all the time. In Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Surah Nas, what I said, in the Surah 110, Ayat 1, on the one ayat, you need to know about this. Okay? Allah says in Quran, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ الْفَاتِحُونَ. Anybody who was American, English-speaking person would have said, if they translated it first, they would say, when came, it says in most Quran, Yusuf Ali, when comes the help of Allah, and victory. Okay? إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ الْفَاتِحُونَ. If you're an English-speaking person and you were to translate that, you will see that grammarians have the word for come in the past tense. So past tense means it came already. So we say, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ, they're saying when come the help of Allah, when came the help of Allah. Allah's help is always there. We just got to find it. And the victory. Whether it's the blessing or the lesson, we still got to find that victory or that blessing or the help from Allah. And that's what allow us to somewhat find some solace in what's going on. We've seen death, destructions, annihilation, genocide of people, little babies. It was really broke my heartbreaking to see little babies in Gaza. They come out the hospital, little babies are incubated. They take the babies out the incubators and they put them on mats, hoping that their body temperature together will at least let 1 or 2 live. Because this is where, because the incubators, all the electricity is gone, so you can't use your modern equipment. So you got to find other ways of doing this. So they put the babies on a mat, and they were saying that maybe some of the ones in the middle will get enough heat to keep themselves alive so they can sustain themselves. That is heartbreaking. Anybody who hears and sees that, it has to come at your heart. But now, we go to Quran. And Surah Luqman, Surah 31, ayat 4 and 5. And this is dealing with our belief. Those who establish regular prayer and give regular charity and have the assurance of the hereafter, these are the ones who will be guided by their Lord, and these are the ones who will prosper. Okay, let me say it again. Those who establish regular prayer and give regular charity and have the assurance of the hereafter. I'm putting the emphasis on the definite article, the insurance. These are the ones who will be guided by their Lord and will prosper. Now, I want to go back to the little babies again. If we're talking about little babies, and we can't, there's no way to justify anything. On the definition I found about the word solace, it says that you find peace, not necessarily always coming to terms with something tragic, but finding peace. And that's what we're doing with it. We're trying to find peace. Now, we've heard our Imam here, Imam Rahman, mention that the Muslim is down here, the believer is up here, but Allah also says again, for those who establish regular prayer and give regular zakat and have the assurance of the hereafter. Okay, that's the part that's important. Have the insurance. Have the assurance of the hereafter. Have the assurance of the everlasting. Have the assurance. We understand it. We have the assurance. There was a commercial out was saying you don't want to buy the car. You want to buy the car. You don't want to have a job. You want to have the job. Meaning that you want to have the definite thing. Okay. So if you have the definite understanding of the definite assurance of the hereafter, you understand the hereafter is the everlasting. Can you imagine back in the days of the Prophet ﷺ, someone telling you, with God is beneath your feet and water underneath? That's heaven to them. We don't see the impact of that because we see water every day, grass every day. You're talking about in a desert land, someone telling you the hereafter is gardens and water underneath. That's the most beautiful thing you can come up with. As today, we have to come up with new analogies that make us understand something more superior. Because to us, to now, that's not as superior as it was back in them days. But now, going back to the babies, just think, knowing that you have the assurance of the hereafter. You know the hereafter is assured. Okay? The everlasting is assured. Paradise is assured. Not to belittle the situation, but these babies, all they had to do so far was survive the birth canal of the Rahman of their mother coming out of the womb. And then within days, if Allah calls them back, they are assured paradise. They are assured hereafter. Meaning that these babies don't have to prove themselves. These babies have got to the ultimate without having to do what we have to do. Every day we got to find a way to make ourselves worthy. Okay? Even though it doesn't solve the situation, it's horrific. Like I said, you're not coming to grips with the tragedy fully, but you understand that what happens after is that the baby is going to paradise. There's no way we understand as Muslims with the assurance of the hereafter. Now, so with the and again, and that's something that we must understand. We must again, if we put things in perspective, Allah makes it easy for us to understand. We know easy for us to start understanding. We may not have complete understanding, but we start understanding. Now, earlier we mentioned that Allah says in the Quran that He has addressed every kind or every similitude of mankind. So every problem, again, we have throughout the world in Quran, or in the world itself, can be addressed in Quran, or is addressed in Quran. Okay? Now, some of the things that goes on, we must say that we understand that some of the acts that some of our brothers are doing outside of Islam is not right. America, Israel, they have their scholars. They have their Islamic scholars. Believe me, they have their scholars, brother, can break Islam down more than anybody we can imagine. And they're not Muslims, but they are religious doctors. They're religious people who have studied religion and understand the religion itself. So I say to you, I say to them, if you have a problem, if anything happens that is un-Islamic, as Allah says in Quran, in the case of injustice, any case of injustice, we hurl truth after falsehood until it knocks its brains out. And then falsehood will perish. And that's all the world have to do. Anything you think is wrong, they won't do this, but you put it on national or world TV that the Quran says this. They can't do this because Allah says this, and have your scholars break it down for those who will listen. They won't do that because it opens up another can of worms. Now everybody is Muslims. Everybody understands Islam. Okay, but the point is that, brothers, we have people who understand this religion just as much, if not greater, than some of our scholars. Okay? And these are people who are agents of the United States. Now, in reference to Palestine, there's a thing said all they got to do for Palestine is tell the story. Don't tell his story. Don't tell your story. Just tell the story of Palestine, and everything will be in place. You'll find out how wrong Israel is, how wrong the world is, how they let this stuff go on all the time. But the point is that all they have to do is tell the story. Not his story, not your story. Just tell the story and let the facts lay where they lie. And you'll find out that Palestine and the Gaza Strip shouldn't be the Gaza Strip. It's Palestine. But the point I'm making is that no one tells the truth in reference to, Allah says in the Quran, truth after falsehood until it knocks his brains out. And that's what it will do. It will knock his brains out, because the fact is that these people will get their right land, and the Israelis will have to find someplace else to go if it's done right. But it will never be done right because, again, they hide the truth for their own benefit. Inshallah, we said something that will allow us to gather our thoughts and move on. And I remind you that those who you were trying to make sure we stop on time so we can get this picture in for our website, we found that our website has almost everybody on it that's not here. So we need to get a new site. And thank you, brother, for finding it out, okay? ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قامت الصلاة قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله. Please,